Imagine you're walking through your backyard on, like, a beautiful Saturday morning. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and then squish.
Oh, no.
Right? You step into this suspiciously lush, unusually soggy patch of grass, and then it hits you. That unmistakable, sulfurous, rotten egg smell.
Yeah, that is the worst possible realization.
It really is. In that exact moment, you realize the one piece of massive infrastructure you have been completely ignoring has just become an absolute expensive nightmare. I mean, you probably know exactly when your roof was last replaced, right? Or when the air filters in your HVAC system need changing.
Sure, the visible stuff.
Exactly. But your septic system, for most of us, it is entirely out of sight and out of mind.
Yeah.
Until it fails anyway.
It truly is the ultimate hidden vulnerability in homeownership. And frankly, the way most people historically treat it, I mean, it almost guarantees that it will eventually become a very expensive problem.
Which is exactly why today we are taking a deep dive into some truly eye-opening excerpts from a piece called The Evolution of Proactive Septic System Maintenance.
It's a great read.
It really is. It centers around the changing science of home waste management and this specific preventative product called SEPTIFIX.
Right.
So our mission today is to explore how the old, flush and forget approach to home plumbing is just completely dying out. We're going to look at why treating your home's waste system less like a trash can and more like a living, breathing ecosystem is actually the ultimate modern life hack.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we are not just giving you a boring plumbing lecture today.
Yeah.
This is actually a fascinating look at the intersection of microbiology, home economics, and environmental science.
Let's start with how we got here, though. I mean, for decades, the rule of thumb for homeowners was essentially blind faith.
Yeah.
You flush a toilet, it disappears down a pipe, and as long as the bowl empties, you just assume everything is functioning perfectly.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about the fact that all that waste is just sitting in a concrete vault, like a few yards from your kitchen window.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a magic trick. The water goes down, the problem vanishes.
Yep.
But the source material makes it incredibly clear that this reactive approach is basically a ticking time bomb. Because when that magic trick stops working, the grim reality of a neglected system is, well, it's horrifying.
Oh, it really is.
The sources detail scenarios that sound like a homeowner's sleep paralysis demon. We're talking about raw sewage backing up into bathtubs while you're trying to take a shower.
Gross.
Yeah, slow drains that take hours to empty, leaving this weird scum ring. Foul odors seeping up through the floorboards or just hanging over your backyard. And eventually, total destruction of your drain field.
The financial numbers outlined in our sources are what really wake people up on us.
Oh, for sure. Give us the breakdown.
Well, let's say you just wait for a visible problem to occur. An emergency weekend pumping call alone is going to cost you several $100s just to get a vacuum truck out there.
Right?
And if a pipe has burst or blocked severely due to sludge backup, you're looking at hundreds to thousands of dollars in excavation and repair.
Wait, hold on. Let's clarify what the drain field actually is, because I think a lot of people, myself included sometimes, just picture a single underground tank.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So the septic tank is really just the first stop.
Okay.
After the solids settle in the tank, the liquid wastewater, which is called effluent, flows out into a network of perforated pipes. And those are buried in gravel trenches out of your yard. That's the drain field.
Right.
It safely filters that wastewater down through the soil, naturally purifying it before it hits the groundwater.
Okay, so if that soil gets clogged with like thick biological sludge that escaped the tank, it just stops draining entirely.
Exactly. The whole yard floods.
Yeah.
And restoring a ruined drain field costs several $1,000s.
Wow.
Yeah, and if the entire system has failed, full replacements can easily reach into the tens of thousands of dollars.
Tens of thousands. That is literally a down payment on a house just to fix the thing that makes the house habitable. And that doesn't even touch the non-financial costs. You've got the health hazards of raw sewage literally inside your living space.
Right.
The massive property damage to your hardwood floors and drywall if a toilet overflows. And just, the sheer panic-inducing stress of dealing with it all.
What's fascinating here is how this behavior highlights a known psychological blind spot. Humans naturally procrastinate on invisible problems.
Oh, 100%.
We are highly responsive to things we can visually track, like a leaking roof, peeling paint, or a cracked window. But because the septic tank is buried under 3 feet of dirt, we assume no news is good news.
Right.
The critical issue is that septic problems do not happen overnight. They develop very slowly, millimeter by millimeter, over months or even years.
Yeah.
So by the time you actually see that standing water in the yard or smell the foul odor in the sink, the structural and financial damage is already done.
So you aren't catching a problem early. You are witnessing the final catastrophic stage of failure.
Precisely.
Okay, I hear you, but I have to push back on this a little bit. Are we really blaming the homeowner here? Let's look at the basic engineering. But wait, isn't a septic tank basically designed to just hold waste and figure it out on its own?
Oh, wait.
I mean, it's a giant, heavy, underground concrete box. It has no moving parts. Why should you have to baby a giant underground concrete box?
So that exact assumption is what gets people into tens of thousands of dollars of debt.
Really?
Yes, it is not just a passive holding box. It is a highly active biological engine. And this is where we really have to dive into the core mechanics of how your plumbing actually works.
Okay, let's hear it.
A healthy septic system relies entirely on a massive, delicate colony of beneficial bacteria. These microscopic workers are doing the heavy lifting. They naturally consume and break down the solid organic waste you flush away, converting it into liquids and gases so the system can safely process it and send it out to the drain field.
So it's basically like taking antibiotics for a cold, wiping out all your good gut health, and then wondering why your stomach hurts. We need to treat the septic tank like a stomach, not a trash can.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. It is a carefully balanced bacterial ecosystem.
Wow.
And the things we've been doing to clean our homes are actively destroying that ecosystem.
Okay, let me challenge that for a second. Let's say I pour a cup of bleach down the drain while cleaning the sink, or I don't know, I use one of those heavy-duty corrosive chemical drain uncloggers. A standard septic tank holds, what, 1,000 gallons of water? Doesn't the sheer volume of liquid in the tank just dilute a cup of bleach to the point where it's completely harmless to those bacteria?
It's a logical question, but you have to look at the cumulative effect over time and the specific biology of the tank. It's not just one cup of bleach.
Right.
Think about modern household habits. We use harsh drain cleaners to dissolve hair on Monday. We do 5 loads of laundry with bleach on Wednesday.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We use heavy antibacterial soaps every single time we wash our hands, and we drop those slow-release chemical tablets into our toilet bowls so they stay blue. All of those harsh chemicals wash down the drain, day after day, week after week. In our relentless modern quest to perfectly sterilize our sinks and toilets, we are literally sterilizing the septic tank.
Jeez.
We are waging chemical warfare on the exact bacteria we need to make the system work.
Wow. Okay, so we're wiping out the workforce. What happens to the mechanics of the tank when those bacteria die off?
You initiate a devastating domino effect. Without enough healthy bacteria, the solid organic waste no longer breaks down efficiently.
Right.
Because it's not breaking down, those solids accumulate much faster. They turn into a thick, heavy layer of sludge at the bottom of the tank. And at the top of the tank, you get a hardened layer of what's called scum, which is mostly oils, fats, and grease.
Okay.
As the sludge layer on the bottom grows and the scum layer on the top gets thicker, the usable liquid capacity in the middle of the tank rapidly shrinks.
Oh, I see. So instead of 1,000 gallons of processing space, you might only have 300 gallons of clear water, basically sandwiched between concrete-like sludge and grease.
Precisely. And that means wastewater moves through the tank way too quickly. The solids don't have time to settle.
Uh-oh.
So raw, unprocessed solid waste gets pushed out into the delicate perforated pipes of your drain field. That clogs the soil, the water has nowhere to go, and the entire system backs up into your house.
That completely changes how I look at pouring anything down a drain. I mean, we are inadvertently starving and poisoning the biological workers that keep our houses functioning.
We really are.
But if we know the tank is a living bacterial environment that we've been accidentally torturing, how do we fix it without making it a complicated chore?
Right, because realistically, people are incredibly busy.
Exactly. No one wants home maintenance to become a complicated part-time job requiring a degree in microbiology. Enter the preventative revolution.
Yes. This is the shift away from harsh chemical treatments toward natural biological support. The sources we're analyzing point to a specific product, SEPTIFIX, as the prime example of this new preventative trend. It represents a fundamental change in strategy. Instead of aggressively attacking a blockage after it happens with corrosive acid, which further damages your bacterial colony, by the way.
Right, adding insult to injury.
Exactly.
No.
You're continuously nurturing the ecosystem So the blockage never forms in the first place.
The source material spends a lot of time on the form factor of this product, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
SEPTIFIX isn't some massive, heavy jug of industrial liquid you have to carefully measure out while wearing gloves. It's just a small, solid, flushable tablet. You drop it in your toilet once a month and you flush.
So simple.
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just a bacteria pill. The real biological mechanism of this tablet, once it goes down the drain, is quite sophisticated. It doesn't just add bacteria, it chemically releases oxygen.
This is the key differentiator in the science here. Let's break down why oxygen matters so much in a septic tank.
Yeah, how does a solid tablet even release oxygen underwater over a long period? And why do we even care?
Well, the tablet is formulated with specific compounds that, when exposed to the water in the tank, undergo a slow chemical reaction. They slowly dissolve, effervescing and dispersing dissolved oxygen throughout the wastewater over the course of several days.
Okay.
This is crucial because of the type of bacteria that naturally live in a sealed underground septic tank. Left to its own devices, a septic tank is an anaerobic environment, meaning it lacks oxygen.
Right, because it's sealed underground.
Exactly. Anaerobic bacteria do break down waste, but they do it very slowly.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct, they release hydrogen sulfide gas.
Ah, hydrogen sulfide. That's the rotten egg sulfur smell we were talking about earlier.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, when you introduce dissolved oxygen into that environment, you completely change the game. You wake up and support aerobic bacteria.
Okay.
Aerobic bacteria, which require oxygen to survive, are vastly more aggressive. They multiply faster, and they consume solid organic waste and sludge at an incredibly accelerated rate compared to their anaerobic cousins.
Wow.
Furthermore, aerobic digestion doesn't produce that foul hydrogen sulfide gas.
So by delivering oxygen deep underground, alongside a fresh introduction of beneficial bacteria, you are essentially turbocharging the breakdown of waste naturally. You're shifting the environment from slow and smelly to fast and efficient.
And that mechanism reduces the sludge buildup and neutralizes the foul odors right at the source. You aren't masking a symptom. You are fixing the underlying biological imbalance.
That is so smart.
And this actually reflects a much broader movement in modern homeownership. Think about how we manage our homes today. We install smart water monitors on our main lines to catch microscopic leaks before a pipe bursts. We have HVAC systems that monitor air pressure and alert us when a filter is losing efficiency.
Yeah, everything is smart now.
We're beginning to understand that continuous steady support prevents our home's critical systems from ever reaching a state of heavy stress. Proactive, preventative care extends the lifespan of the hardware.
And the convenience factor simply cannot be overstated here. Modern consumers are exhausted. We have decision fatigue. We hate complicated mixing processes, and we hate rigid, multi-step maintenance schedules. Dropping a tablet in a toilet once a month fits perfectly into a low-effort routine. It takes 3 seconds. It removes the friction from doing the right thing.
But the adoption of products like this isn't happening in a vacuum. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the internet has fundamentally shifted homeownership from a reactive, isolated experience to a proactive, community-educated one.
Right.
Before the internet, if your septic tank failed, it was a private disaster. Now, homeowners are no longer in the dark.
Oh, absolutely. The source highlights this specific educated homeowner phenomenon. Because of the proliferation of DIY maintenance blogs, educational videos, and homeownership forums, people are actively researching the underlying mechanics of their houses before disasters happen.
Yes.
We are learning the hard lessons by watching other people's very expensive mistakes online.
And the specifics of what they are learning are vital. People now know the severe dangers of pouring hot cooking grease down the drain. You know how it solidifies in the tank and forms an impenetrable scum layer that suffocates the bacteria below? They are learning the truth about the marketing myth of the flushable wipe.
Oh, wait. Let's pause on the flushable wipe because that's a huge point. The package literally says flushable. Why is it destroying tanks?
Because flushable just means it will physically fit through the curved pipe of your toilet without immediately clogging the bowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But unlike toilet paper, which is designed to disintegrate in water almost instantly, many flushable wipes are woven with synthetic fibers.
I didn't know that.
They don't break down. They sit in the septic tank for years, wrapping around each other, forming massive, indestructible clogs that bacteria cannot eat. Homeowners are finally getting educated on these granular details.
That is wild. And beyond the personal financial education, the sources show a massive environmental awakening happening. A failing septic system isn't just a personal headache or a bad smell in your basement. It is an active environmental hazard for your entire neighborhood.
It is. When a system overflows or a drain field gets choked with sludge and fails, highly concentrated, untreated human waste and household chemicals contaminate the surrounding soil.
Right.
That contamination doesn't just stay put. It leaches deep into the groundwater. It washes across residential landscapes during heavy rains, and eventually it makes its way into nearby lakes, streams, and local ecosystems.
Which causes massive algae blooms in local ponds and poses serious public health risks.
Exactly.
So natural solutions like SEPTIFIX appeal directly to the eco-conscious sustainability habits that families are already practicing in other areas of their lives. We're recycling cardboard, we're composting food scraps, we're buying energy-efficient appliances. It only makes sense that we would want a biological, eco-friendly solution for our home's waste management too. But that leads me to a real chicken or the egg question.
Okay.
Are we seeing this shift simply because repair costs have skyrocketed? Or is it truly because you and I are becoming more environmentally responsible? Or is it the perfect storm of both?
It's undoubtedly a perfect storm, but let's be honest, the financial aspect is a massive catalyst.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As inflation impacts the cost of heavy labor, backhoe rentals, and raw materials like PVC piping and concrete, the penalty for negligence has never been higher.
Right.
However, once a homeowner starts looking for a way to avoid a $30,000 repair bill, they are immediately presented with the environmental reality of how these systems work.
They see the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They realize that protecting their wallet inherently requires protecting the microenvironment buried in their backyard. Modern homeowners are beginning to view themselves as stewards of that local ecosystem.
Stewards of our local ecosystem. I really like that framing. But we have to be realistic here, too. Even with the best preventative products on the market and the most noble eco-intentions, you still need to know how to read your home's signals.
Definitely.
A monthly oxygen tablet is a powerful biological tool, but it's not a magical shield that lets you abuse your plumbing.
A healthy system requires a true partnership between the homeowner's daily habits and preventative tools like SEPTIFIX. You have to actively watch for the physical warning signs.
What are you looking for?
Even with a proactive approach, you should always be alert to sinks, showers, or tubs that drain slower than usual. Listen to your plumbing. If you hear strange gurgling sounds coming from the pipes when you run the dishwasher or the washing machine, that is air struggling to vent because of a partial blockage in the main line.
Okay, good to know.
And of course, sudden sewage odors outside or frequent toilet backups inside are red flashing lights that require immediate professional attention.
And going back to that visceral hook we started with, there is one specific warning sign mentioned in the sources that I found completely fascinating. It said to look out for unusually green patches of grass in your yard, specifically near the drain field.
Yes.
Now, instinctually, you'd think a super green, lush, perfectly growing patch of lawn is a sign of a healthy yard, right?
It is a brilliant detail from the text. What's happening there is a phenomenon called localized nitrogen overload.
Okay.
Raw, untreated sewage is highly concentrated in nutrients, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus. When a septic tank cracks or a drain field is failing and leaking heavily beneath the surface, it effectively acts as a hyperpotent underground fertilizer being injected straight into the grass roots.
Oh, wow.
So if you have one perfectly green, rapidly growing rectangle of grass in an otherwise dormant or normal lawn, you shouldn't pat yourself on the back for being a master gardener. You likely have a catastrophic septic leak happening right under your boots.
Note to self, beware the suspiciously perfect lawn. So to prevent reaching that nightmare stage, the holistic habits are absolutely key. We have to avoid flushing those synthetic wipes we talked about. Seriously, do not flush them.
Never.
Avoid flushing heavy hygiene products or paper towels. You've got to stop pouring hot bacon grease down the drain where it turns into a hardened scum layer. You need to limit the harsh bleach and heavy chemical cleaners that wipe out your bacterial workforce. You also need to conserve excessive water usage so you don't literally flood the tank and push solids into the drain field before they break down.
Right.
And yes, you still need to schedule regular professional inspections and pumpings based on your tank size and your household usage. So what does this all mean? The sources summarize it really well. Buying SEPTIFIX is like buying a gym membership for your house. It's a great investment, it's the right step, but it doesn't mean you can start flushing flushable wipes and pouring bacon grease down the drain. You still have to eat right, so to speak.
That is a great synthesis. The biological supplement only reaches its full potential if it is paired with a healthy baseline lifestyle.
Exactly.
When you combine smart daily water use habits with a consistent biological treatment solution that delivers oxygen to the tank, you create an optimized environment where the septic system can efficiently process waste for decades without heavy strain.
It really is a total paradigm shift. We are officially moving away from the era of blind faith plumbing. The future of homeownership is all about proactive, educated investment.
Mhm.
By simply understanding the mechanics of your home and taking a few seconds a month to treat your septic system like a biological partner rather than an invisible trash can, you are saving yourself potentially tens of thousands of dollars.
You really are.
You are actively protecting your local groundwater, soil, and streams from contamination. And most importantly, for your daily peace of mind, you are avoiding a literal, very smelly mess inside your own house.
This raises an important question, though. If we are now waking up to the reality of using bioengineered oxygen tablets to maintain the unseen bacterial ecosystems beneath our lawns, what other invisible ecosystems in our homes are we currently ignoring?
That's a good point.
Think about the complex microscopic biomes living inside our indoor air HVAC systems, or the biological realities of our municipal water inputs flowing through our pipes. I suspect we are on the verge of a biological preventative revolution that will fundamentally change how we manage every single hidden system in the modern home.
That is a truly fascinating thought to leave on. We spend so much time curating the visual aesthetics of our homes, the paint colors, the furniture. It's about time we started curating the underlying biology of them, too.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden world beneath your backyard. Take care of your bacteria, and they will take care of you. Keep questioning, stay proactive, and as always, stay curious. We'll catch you on the next one.